Hello guys, welcome to the potential finale question mark of the Quadzerker challenge. Alright, I just want to... Hello Matt, I get to check the room. I was starting to worry, maybe the delay is too large today. How come Matt hasn't yet already triggered the ambush? But okay, that's good to hear. How you doing, man? How you doing? Got your food? All ready? So, last time, shit got real, as in real, R-E-A-L, capital. And we finally hit a wall. How far till we get wrecked this time? We shall see, won't we? At the very least, we should be able to make it to Pandemonium. Now, I found out that I did not get some treasure, some very important treasure chest last time. So I'll pick that up this time. But yeah, last time, we saw just how much of a difficulty spike the final dungeon is. Well, technically this is not even the final dungeon though, is it? But you can call this the final dungeon. As far as practical purposes are concerned, this is the final dungeon because we don't really get to save between this and the final dungeon. But yeah, what we discovered last time is that this place is full of absolutely horrible monsters who just wouldn't give us the time of day. Noteworthy mentions were abyss worms, hecties. Was there anybody else that really posed a problem? I don't think so. So hecties were a big problem because of their magic attacks. They used Confuse 16. So that was posing a big problem, and what we discussed was that the solution to that is to grind for more magic defense, which is exactly what I've done. I spent a shitload of time. I don't want to discuss that. My god, I spent a shitload of time in grinding. Basically, pretty much all of my other challenge runs which have not involved grinding, this was like, what do you say? What can I say? This was like recompense for that, the amount of grinding I had to do for this. Well, I won't say I had to, technically speaking. The fact was that I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe it myself that I was able to make it all the way to this part of the game without having to drop any of my incredibly restrictions. I was going to die so fast when you get to him. Do you really think so? Well, spoiler alert, the Emperor is as much of a difficulty spike from the final dungeon as the final dungeon was to the rest of the game. So look forward to that. Assuming that we actually make it there, remember what all I grinded for, well, I will discuss that, but most importantly, we saw last time that individually the fights are pretty manageable. Well, not pretty manageable, kind of manageable, since even without grinding, our Zerks had an incredible amount of HP. What I did was, because of all of the grinding, and all of my grinding was in Cure and Pandemonium, I managed to save up a lot of money to buy a lot of elixirs, as you can see. 88 elixirs. I'm not entirely confident that that's going to be enough. That's still going to see me through, but we shall see. We shall see. 88. I mean, It's got to count as something, right? So, the problem that we saw last time was in resource consumption. Of course, there were some encounters which were just flat out impossible because of lack of sufficient magic defense. The Hectice encounter was an almost guaranteed wipe. Another problem we discovered was the amount of damage we take, because as we have discussed many times in the past, the necessary theme for Berserkers, at least, well, I would say it is an optional restriction, but it is true to the nature of the Berserkers that they are incredibly slow. And remember, this being the final dungeon, all enemies are pretty much guaranteed to take their turn before any of our party members. Guaranteed. It's not even like there's a small chance that anyone from our party will be able to outspeed these guys. This is the end game, for crying out loud. I'm quite sure that would be the same in Final Fantasy V as well. So pretty much that's predictable that all the enemies will take their turn before we do. Worst case scenario, as we see here, is that we get 4 enemies who will all take their turn. Actually, worst case scenario is 8 enemies, but we also saw that magic attacks are not too threatening. Magic attacks are completely manageable. At this stage in the game, magical attacks are doing at best 400 damage. It's the physical attacks that are a huge issue for us, especially when they are from HP drain enemies, which we shall meet. So that's a quarter of my high potions, which is why I needed so many elixirs. Not only do I need all of those elixirs, I will need to be very, very smart about how and when I use those elixirs. In fact, I fully believe it's going to come to a stage where it would actually be beneficial for me to take a wipe instead of. Speaking of wipe, I forgot to increment the rip counter. God damn it. Screw that. But yeah, coming back to the point, every single fight, unless it's a preemptive, and preemptives are very, very rare, like 1 in 100 fights is going to be a preemptive. I still don't know how I'm even getting preemptives. But unless the fight is a preemptive, we are guaranteed to take a minimum amount of damage. That is the floor with the dragon armor. And if it's an ambush, then we are guaranteed to take double that minimum amount of damage. Now this is not a worst case scenario, because remember, only the first 2 rows are effectively considered the front row. So at this stage, we can only be attacked by 3 abyss worms. So the thing is, at the beginning of the fight, we are guaranteed to take a certain amount of damage. How we can minimize the total amount of damage that we take in the entire fight is by optimizing the number of turns. That is pretty much the only option available to us. And the only option for optimizing the number of turns, optimizing is a very hi-fi word. I would just say minimizing the number of turns, wouldn't it? By minimizing the number of turns, that is the only option available to us to minimize the damage. Now, if we had swords available to us, there would have been some other tactical options as well, such as inflicting statuses. But with axes, no such luck. Oh god, no! Oh, I don't want vampire ladies. Can we one-shot them? They have HP drain attacks, and HP drain attacks are going to be our biggest enemy now, simply because of the amount of HP that I've got. Aegis shield, best shield in the game that we can't use. Hooray! The Aegis shield is so good, I feel so bad. Dragon armor protects us against elemental spells, but elemental spells are not doing too much damage anyway. It's still a good amount of defense, so I'm not going to complain. So, minimizing the number of turns. As a consequence of that conclusion, the outcome I had to strive to was to grind in order to get into a position where I would be able to one-shot most enemies. When I say most enemies, random encounters would generally come. God damn it! Random encounters would generally come in groups of 3, 4, and 5. But there are special encounters, obviously, like the white dragon or the green dragon. That would be an individual encounter. And those things we will not be able to one-shot, simply because, well, they are boss status even for endgame. Eight hits, 1500 damage, fantastic. We're not doing a lot of damage. Suddenly, boss. Indeed. But at this stage, these kinds of encounters are completely manageable, simply because of the buckets of HP that we have. So when basically tactically thinking, as long as the amount of damage that an enemy inflicts is constant, more HP is obviously just going to help us. However, that theory fails when we have to deal with HP drain enemies, simply because the HP drain mechanic is based on your total HP. So the more total HP you have, the more that they will drain from you. So it's a double-edged sword. Alright, that's it for Jade Passage's treasures. So yeah, before last time and this stream, I grinded quad 9 HP on my 3 primary units. I'm just calling them units because I'm playing so much Final Fantasy Tactics. Primary party members. Leon, would it have been beneficial to grind more? How am I getting preemptive strikes? Still don't know. At 0% evasion, I doubt that there is any chance at all for you to get preemptive strikes. Or if at all there was a chance, it would be like 1%. I've already got 2 preemptives during what? Less than 50 fights here? So maybe today's a lucky day, huh? But yeah, I spent a lot of time grinding strength. I spent a lot of time grinding HP. I also grinded to level 16 in both knives and axes. So this is pretty much under the entire set of restrictions. This is pretty much the best damage that we can do. And as we can see so far, we are rather comfortably able to one-shot. Every one of our party members is able to comfortably one-shot any enemy, except for dragons, but they will always be the exceptions. Not just that. Remember how even the Marlboros were kind of a problem because they were inflicting some nasty status effects on hit. As a consequence of the amount of time I spent in grinding, I also managed to get a substantial amount of magic defense. So everybody's got like level 13 magic defense. That's just ridiculous. So even something like oh god, no, not vampire ladies. Fortunately, both the encounters that I've gotten vampire ladies in have been preemptive strikes. But I don't want to deal with vampire ladies just yet, because there is a worse version of them in Pandemonium. But firstly, I actually want to enter Pandemonium. If you don't mind, game, get ready for that mage rage. How the hell am I getting so many preemptives? I know I shouldn't complain, but come on. Throw the worst that you can at me. Isn't that what this challenge is all about? Okay, damn it. What the hell is this? Scissor jaws. Wow, that is an incredibly rare monster. Pretty much toothless, especially compared to all the other crap that is in Jade. That is incredibly rare, which is why I would pause a bit. So that was always going to be our primary strategy. As far as possible, one-shot the enemies in order to reduce the amount of damage. And as a consequence of that, you can see, compared to last time, the strategy is already working. We have managed to make it to the end of Jade Passage with a handful of high potions remaining. Technically speaking, I could have made it here. Mage Rage, by the way. Damn it, GBA sound. I fully believe we could have made it all the way out here without using a single high potion, but I don't mind wasting all of my high potions by the time we enter Pandemonium, because now shit is going to get real. Oh boy. And that is the entirety of my high potions. So now 99 high potions exactly lasted me Jade Passage. I'm gonna save this on a separate slot as well, for reasons that will be made clear later. But yeah, let's see what Pandemonium has to offer. Just to confirm, grinded 16, level 16 knives, level 16 axes, and nothing else, mind you. Strength 99, stamina 99. Same for Lena. Oh, missing 2 points of stamina. God damn it, Lena. Zezat. Gilgamesh, nobody cares about you. I did grind to level 16 for him at least, but not everything else. I believe he already has 99 strength. He starts off with incredibly high strength to begin with. So that's a bonus. But yeah, let's see what Pandemonium has to offer. Exhibit. Once again, I got a preemptive. This is so not fair. I was just going to say Exhibit A and demonstrate a wipe, but oh well. Can we one-shot them? Yeah, we can one-shot them. No, we can't! Are you kidding me, buds? Haha, the irony. These guys drop a high potion for me. For some reason I'm getting preemptives. But yeah, we'll save the Exhibit A for a bit later. Nope. These guys are weak ass monsters for this stage. Remember back when the Lamiakin was actually very difficult, simply because she was constantly putting my guys to sleep with her sleep touch. Not a problem now. These are just trash mobs in the final dungeon. So let's talk about how we are strategically going to allocate our elixir consumption. Since elixirs are pretty much guaranteed to provide full recovery to one party member, we are only going to use elixirs when let's say we are less than 2000 HP. I think it would also be wise to actually calculate how much damage we are taking every fight. And a preemptive again? Dude, there's something wrong. Nope, corals, again, not a problem. Huh. Did I just hype it up and it's gonna let me down? Final boss is not gonna let me down, but are you kidding me? Where are the Death Riders? Another repeat! I got 3 of them now! Oh, the game is killing me. The game is just mocking me. There we go, Death Riders. 8 hits, 5000 damage, and he healed for that amount. Yeah. Oh god. Bastards. That was a very small indication of what Death Riders are going to do. And remember, I got 4 of them as a preemptive strike. Just that would have been a guaranteed wipe. What the hell is this? Trash mobs, beast demons. Koto's cousins. So those Death Riders are pretty much the worst enemies for us. Is there anything else mobs can do the 4-digit damage? There are a couple of enemies which can do 4-digit damage simply because they are that powerful. But other than Death Riders, not really. I won't say that we have sufficient defense to tank anything that anybody else can throw at us. But the Death Riders are the main problem. Is there anything else? And they are supposed to be a rather common encounter in the first 3 floors. But it just appears that I am incredibly lucky today here on stream. And I got a problem with that, I'm sorry. Like, where are the Death Riders? So those goddamn Death Riders are the reason that we needed a whole bunch of elixirs. Well, not the only reason. Jade Passage was a primary reason, because of which 99 high potions were just not going to be enough. But as we can see, everything apart from the Death Rider hasn't really done much damage at all. We don't really care about spell damage. Oh, look at this! Ouch! 2 Death Riders! Ambush! Oh my god! This is gonna be a wipe. Magnificent. Oh my god. Oh my god, the brutality is real. And yeah, give me some recovery as a high potion, huh, bastards? So yeah, Death Riders are the title of this stream. Zerkbane. They are the worst HP drain monsters, random encounters I should say, in this game. And they get 8 hits, which means 50% of the HP is gone just like that, no matter how high your HP is or how low. And on top of that, they have a very high attack stat as well. I'm not going to use elixir on Zezat. Simply because anything apart from a Death Rider is, I think 3000 HP is more than enough to survive one single encounter. So it is no longer about surviving a single encounter, it's about being able to survive. Hello EB! How's it going, man? It's no longer about surviving one single encounter, except unless it's a Death Rider. If it's a Death Rider encounter, depends on how many Death Riders we get. If we get, as we just saw, even a 2 Death Rider encounter, if it's an ambush, it becomes very marginal whether we can survive. And if we get a 4 Death Rider encounter and it's a preemptive for some stupid reason, it's completely manageable, since more or less we are able to one-shot even something as tanky as a Death Rider. And before 6 Death Riders, oh my god! Shihali would appreciate that, I'm sure, but fortunately the code prevents more than 4 Death Riders. However, I will show you one formation which I believe is even worse than 6 Death Riders. Let's see if we can actually get that. Probably not, seeing as how my luck is going today. That Gilgi is not an integral part of the party. Indeed, Gilgi is actually contributing. Who would have thought that, huh? We finally decided that it is time to stop kidding around, and it is time to fight like men, and ladies who dress like men. Because joking around is just not going to cut it anymore. 18,000 bucks! Oh boy. And what do I get in this final dungeon? Oh, this is what I'm talking about! This is what I'm talking about. So, just take a moment. Just... Hang on. Just take a moment to appreciate how horrible this situation is. The Mithril Golem is in the front row, which means that by necessity we are forced to target him, being not being allowed to select our targets. And Mithril Golem is one of the tankiest bastards in this game. He himself is going to take probably 2 or 3 turns to take down. Meanwhile, the Death Rider in the back row is the actual threat in this fight. Like, this encounter is one of the most beautiful encounters in this game, and one of the, what do you call it? It's a trap encounter basically, as we shall see. Look at that, 5,000 damage from the Death Rider. Comparatively speaking, the Mithril Golem is not, the damage from the Mithril Golem is not a big deal. However, look at the ridiculously low amounts of damage we're doing there. Meanwhile, the Death Rider from the back row is just having his fun. Oh, wow. That was fast. It only took us 2 turns to down that Death Rider. Hey, I'm gonna take that. And we get another high potion. Wow. Death Riders can actually drop elixirs. I would very much appreciate it, but it's needless to say, it's a very, very rare drop. Okay, what did I endure all of that suffering for? Elixir! Oh shit, did they change it? Oh, I would take that. So I spent 1 elixir in order to get 1 more elixir. That's fine. I thought that was an eye drop. Mithril Golem by himself, not a big deal. He can do 4-digit damage, but it's manageable, since we've almost got 5-digit HP. The only problem with the Mithril Golem is when he comes in combination with the Death Rider. He can even come in combination with 2 Death Riders. That I would say that's an impossible fight. Yeah, wouldn't even say that one would be possible. Simply because 1 Death Rider in the back row was difficult enough to manage. Two of them when they come with the Mithril Golem, no sir. But by and large, pretty much all the other encounters are manageable, are pretty much manageable. In fact, more than manageable, I would say. They are a non-issue. Even something as dangerous as Coerls, who can kill on hit. So on 4th floor, I think by and large we should be free of Death Riders. Tap and tap on the 4th floor. So I have to say I got incredibly lucky this time around. Are you kidding me? There are Death Riders on the 4th floor. I was literally just talking about this. Oh, we are so dead. Please kill him. Okay, that's gonna be 2 more elixirs down the drain. And he drops an ether, which I don't even care about. So we are on 4th floor, and I still have 84 elixirs left. Yep. So this is going well so far. Clutch indeed. This is news to me. Nice! We one-rounded that Mithril Golem. Where was this damage last time? Damn insubordinate Zerks. Jerks? Oh no, this is so painful. Why? And I got an ambush. Okay, so much for luck. That's going to be 1 more elixir. Charging by 3. Alright, let's take these guys on. Genji Gloves. More defense for us, which obviously the Death Riders don't care about. Flare 16! Oh no! How much damage is this gonna do? 500! Thank you very much. Yeah, we don't really care about bosses. We don't care about anything unless it has HP drain. There we go. That was a boss, by the way. So, who gets the Genji Gloves? Maybe I should give all the Genji stuff to Gilgamesh. Why though? Genji Gloves, defense goes from 85 to 105. Like Death Riders care about that. What was that? Curse 8. Yeah, I missed. Okay. Everybody has very good magic defense, so literally we don't care about magic damage at all. And to a very large extent, we don't care about physical damage at all either. Except for when it's from Death Riders or sometimes Mithril Golems who are doing significant amount of damage. Well, not significant, but I wouldn't say it's insignificant. It's definitely not significant compared to the amount of HP that we have right now. but all the other enemies are very, very manageable. As we can see, most of the other enemies in this dungeon either well, they rely on one gimmick or another, not straight up damage. It's just the Death Riders who are dangerous because of the HP drain, and Mithril Golems simply because they are tanky and they hit really hard. Other enemies rely on gimmicks like status effects. There are corals who rely on their blaster, their signature blaster attack. What the hell is this? These Gigas are standing in line for something. Organized Gigas Rebellion. Still not doing too much damage. We're not able to one-shot them, but I think that's pretty close. Mob of wild Gigas appear. Fire Gigas, that too. It's not your regular Gigas either. Butts is down to 600 HP. I think I can justify using an elixir on him. But Zezat is fine. I mean, this is the stage that we have come to. Zezat has about 2000 HP. We are fine unless we run into either a Mithril Golem or a Death Rider. I would go as far as to say that the Death Riders should be considered as an exception enemy in this dungeon. A trend which I have been following for most of this play. Did I get a preemptive there? What is wrong? How many preemptives have I got today? It's ridiculous. Escaped! Ice Gigas, former boss by the way, ran away. Oh, nice one. Will the Red Dragon run away too? Holy shit, 2000 damage! Oh wow, Red Dragon can't land the hurt. That was a good laugh. In fact, I'm surprised most other monsters are not running away as well. The fear mechanic, as far as monsters are concerned, is based on their HP versus our total HP. Wow, you gotta be kidding me. He dropped a dragon shield, which is the second best shield in the game, and I'm not using shields. Wow, why don't I get this luck elsewhere? So I was strongly considering whether I should just reset every time I get into a Death Rider encounter. If you think about where this challenge run really started getting very difficult, it was only... Yeah, Mithril Golem is one of the candidates for escape. I wonder why he is sticking around. We need to heal Gilgamesh. If you think about where this challenge... At what point did this challenge run really take off in terms of difficulty? I don't think it was anywhere until... Oh wow! Oh wow! Mithril Golem and 2 Death Riders. Yep, this is gonna be a wipe. Pretty much guaranteed. I can't believe that we even managed to take out the Mithril Golem. I'm actually gonna win. No, no. Yep. I forgot to update the death counter from Death Riders. Close. Yeah, it was close. It was surprisingly close. I can't believe that I managed to. So that is wipe number 31. I can't believe that I actually managed to take down the Mithril Golem first turn itself. Oh man, I love the way it's. Seriously? Okay, maybe it's because of RNG. It's even going the same as last time. Same numbers as last time. Or is it? No, it's not. This time I might actually be able to win this. Oh wow. Alright, another prediction not quite true. And I got another ribbon. Thank you, asshole. You can't drop an elixir, you know. I can't believe I actually managed to win that. So much for no way to win that fight, huh? Game is easier than I give it credit. Still wasting a lot of elixirs though. Well, I have plenty to spare. I should have plenty. We are already on the fourth floor. And the fourth floor is going to take a bit of time because there is a four-way intersection. But we should be able to make it to the 11th floor soon enough. Especially if we don't run into more Death Riders. Which for the first half of the game, barring certain special encounters, the first half of the game was pretty much a smooth sailing. It was a very smooth ride. Unexpectedly smooth, actually. I think our first challenge was the Adamantoise. Who we decided to just save scum past. I'm not even talking about bosses. So as a random encounter, we had to face the Adamantoise. Not face. We had to encounter Adamantoises in Kashuan. And we decided just to save scum past them in order to save us the grinding. It was primarily to save us the grinding, but I think more importantly, the philosophy behind that decision, which I can claim in hindsight now, was that even if I managed to grind so much that I would be able to take on the Adamantoise, all the other encounters for that stage in the game would become a non-issue. So I can justify that. Similarly, in other dungeons, we decided that there were certain encounters which were just not worth it. I think next up was in Dist. The Gigas encounters... Actually, no. I didn't save scum past the Gigas encounters, did I? No. What I did was go to Mysidia, visit Mysidia, and get Ogre Killers. And once I got Ogre Killers, the Gigas encounter was a joke. Simply because of the amount of damage that we were able to deal. Almost one-shot Gigases. Even though at that stage, Gigas, each individual Gigas was doing like 500 damage, we had enough HP to survive that. I think that holy! This guy can drop a holy dome. Interesting. That was a boss, by the way. Relatively straightforward. All he tried to do was use high-level magic spells, even if they want to use a single target, we don't really care about that. The other special encounter I remember was the slimes. Pretty much throughout the game I have reset whenever I encounter slimes. For the self-same reasons, the game makes it very clear that you're supposed to use... Oh god! Can we survive this? I highly doubt it, but let's see. I don't think so. Gotta be kidding me. So we can survive this. Interesting. A Mithril Golem and 2 Death Rider encounters I thought was a near impossibility. To be honest, the amount of elixirs I'm wasting on that encounter, it makes me feel like I would be better off just wiping that. But what it is doing is it is saving my wipe counter, that's for sure. Even at the expense of elixirs. But yeah, slime encounters pretty much fall under the same bucket as the adamantoids. If I had to grind so much that I would be able to take on the slimes, then all the other encounters would become rather ineffective, which they were anyway. But I still maintain that saves coming fast for special kinds of encounters was totally justified. Similarly, we had the cockatrice encounter. Well, I won't really say we saves come faster, now did I? I wiped so many times to cockatrice. By so many times I mean like 5 times? No, Beelzebub in a box! Single target fire spell for 400 damage. Yeah, you're gonna get very far with that. However, one thing to note is that we are doing like 500 damage, 1000 damage at best. These things have a lot of defense, and that's gonna come into play with the final boss, as we shall see later on. Was there any encounter in Mysidia Tower that I felt compelled to save scum past, except for the slime encounters, which I've already mentioned? I don't think so. But yeah, first of all, I'm very surprised that I've managed to maintain all of the restrictions, including all of the optional ones, pretty much into end game itself. The initial plan I had was that at various stages in the game, whenever I would encounter a spike in difficulty, for example, I think I don't really recall exactly what my original plan was, but I did think that once we got to Dist and we had to face off against the Gigas, I would need to give up on some of the restrictions. But then I didn't even consider the fact that I could visit Mysidia and buy myself some ogre killers. And those ogre killers are specifically, well, Gigas killers. They are ogre category apparently. So that helped out a lot. And there wasn't really a difficulty spike after that. Because we had OP weapons for that stage in the game, it saw us through pretty much rest of the mid game through till end game. Our next upgrade from the Ogre Axe was the Venom Axe, which we had to grind for in Cyclone. And I do remember feeling surprised that even in the Cyclone, what I considered to be a very dangerous encounter, the Wood Golem, that turned out to be manageable as well, simply because we had enough magic defense to tank his sleep touch hits, just like the Lamia Queen. Near the end. Hello, Mer. Yep, I'm near the end, but at the same time, I'm very, very far away from the end, because in this challenge run, oh boy, there is still a significant challenge remaining. Because as I told Matt a little bit earlier on, the final boss is as much of a difficulty spike over the rest of the final dungeon as the final dungeon is over the rest of the game. But we shall soon find out. And we are going to get a small taste of what the final boss is going to be like very soon. So by no means is it over. Still a lot to go. You missed the fun and games though. I got wrecked by Death Riders on a regular basis. But there is, like I said, there's a bit to go. Alright, so this is Ribbon. Alright, right. This is I thought this was the Genji armor. Astaroth. Here we are going to get a small taste of what the final boss fight is going to be like. Or not? Did we get a preemptive? Did we get a preemptive on a boss? I don't believe this. 8 hits, 4,000 damage. Yes. Oh god. All the damage that we did, she just recovered. Wow. Yeah. So I stand justified. SF Astaroth class. I don't get that. You mean they used a mythological naming convention as well? Actual ship class in free space. Interesting. Okay. Forget what I said. This is not at all an indicator of what the final boss fight is going to be like. But we did get a small taste, okay? What we saw was that this one had HP drain. This one had drain touch. Remember, all ship classes are from mythology. Do name a few. And if it's not abundantly clear, yes, the final boss has HP drain attacks. There are Death Riders here as well. Well, I'm getting a bang for my buck, that's for sure. Then Greek or Norse mythology, Zod are Egyptian, Shivans are Hindu or biblical demons. I see. Two more elixirs down the drain. Please at least give me one more. These guys are only dropping high potions. Come on. I've already gotten like 4 or 5 ribbons, but no elixirs. That's bad luck. But I should have plenty of elixirs. I'm down to 76. It's manageable, it's manageable. We are almost to the end. No, we're only on the 7th floor. Okay, never mind. Hopefully no Death Riders past the 6th floor. But yeah, I have to admit, I know I say this on a regular basis, but this turned out to be much less of a challenge than I thought initially. Well, not as a whole, mind you, but in stages. I honestly thought that there was no way in hell that I was going to maintain all the restrictions all the way till end game. And to be honest, I think I've kind of been pedantic about it. Street Fighter: Scorpion, Manticore, Basilisk, Dragon, Astaroth, Ashma, and Mara. I don't see anything from Hindu mythology there though, unless it's Shivan themselves. Shivans and Vishnus. Where is Brahma? Those are like our three main gods. Apparently we have a hierarchy of gods as well. And why I say apparently is because obviously I'm not entirely knowledgeable about that. God damn it. Crystal class is Rakshasa, I see. So it does look like that's it for Death Riders. We're not going to encounter any more. Now the destroyer class is Ravana. Nice! You know when you encounter fire Gigases now, you are almost at the end. Where are the behemoths? I don't understand why they still have bombs in the final dungeon. Bombs are like so yesterday. So 2018. Say that in a Valley Girl voice. Because I certainly can't. Oh, I forgot to distribute my Genji equipment around. Genji. Examples of Terran fighters are Apollo, Valkyrie, Hercules, Ulysses, Perseus, and Ares. So that's all from Greek mythology. Very interesting. I really love these naming conventions. Valkyrie is Norse. Huh. Odd one out. Where is Genji? Where is Genji? Genji, there we go. As is Mjolnir. Mjolnir is the name of a ship. Why? There we go. Everybody has Genji equipment. Hellfire, fantastic. They still give us. They still feel entitled to give us crap in the final dungeon, just to troll us. And some of the crap was changed from crap to actually useful stuff in the remakes, but obviously some of the humor was still retained. Good joke, guys. Remote controlled beam cannon. I'm spitting all the knowledge today. What do you mean today? Also has stuff like Seth, Thoth, Horus, Anubis, Osiris, so that's Egyptian, right? Yeah, there we go. I always used to wonder where the hell they used to get all those names from, because they just sounded so cool. Now we know. I don't know if it's just me, but all the foreign names sound much cooler. Maybe it's just a sense of familiarity. Alright, it's the final boss. Or not. Holy shit, King Behemoth. Okay, I think we can take him down. No HP drain attacks, and he's not even doing quad digit damage, so completely reasonable fight here. All we needed was one turn to kill that guy. Seriously. Interesting. I didn't think it was that weak, but I did grind a lot. Okay, we are at the final boss already. Since I can't use any elixirs during battle, I might as well waste more of them. So this is very interesting. I made it here with 74 elixirs. 15,000 HP, unless I'm wrong. Yep, 50,000 HP. But more importantly, like, we just saw the Behemoth. He had 5,000 HP and we were able to one round him. So if that trend continues, we should be able to 3-round this guy, right? Let's find out. Hold A to beat him. Or to get wrecked. Since we can't use items within the fight anyway, I might as well just waste 4 elixirs here. And let's get right into it. Get ready for some mage rage. You have braved the bowels of hell to reach me, indeed. But the hand of man, which deals in false justice and forsaken love, can never hope to defeat the Lord Master of Hell! Enjoy the start of this. And that was the start of it. I don't particularly enjoy the rest of the theme, but the start is just unbelievable. I would say the start of this theme is right up there with Big Bridge, the start of Big Bridge. Okay, 50,000 HP. Let's start chipping away at it. 8 hits, 5,000 damage. Yeah, that is a problem. 360 damage from our side, 177 damage, about 300 damage, and about 400 damage. That is the problem. This guy's defense is off the charts. Fortunately, that was double-digit damage. Seriously, Lena, come on. We need to get crits on a consistent basis to do a decent amount of damage per turn, but we might just get lucky, and it does look like I am going to get lucky. 0 damage. Oh, he's cursed. Okay. Wow. So Gilgamesh, if he's not going to be able to attack, that is going to be a problem. And every time the final boss physically attacks us, that is going to be a huge problem, because that effectively means that all the damage that we did so far is just going to be undone. Look at the amount of HP he's recovering. That is our main problem here, which we saw with Death Rider, which we saw with Astaroth to a certain degree. We managed to deal with the Death Riders because their total HP was manageable to an extent where we were able to one-shot them after that. Blood or something. Yeah, no, you don't have magic, right? Okay, let me explain the challenge rules to you. This is essentially a Final Fantasy V themed run where one of the most difficult challenge runs in Final Fantasy V itself is a Quadzerker run. So Berserkers in Final Fantasy V, you absolutely have no control over them. They'll just attack whoever they want. And on top of that, Berserkers can't use magic, they can only use axes and hammers and knives, they can only equip heavy armor, and they are incredibly slow. So in order to simulate all of those conditions, I have created restrictions for this challenge runs. So the only required restriction was that the battle would only be press A. I am not allowed to select targets. Those are only berserker weapons indeed. The only required, absolutely required restriction was that I could only select the fight command in battle, and I'm not allowed to select targets. By default, they would obviously select the targets right in the front row, but I'm okay with that since in later versions of Final Fantasy V, that is how berserkers behave. They don't just target anybody they can. They target the front row. So that's okay. Those were the only forced restrictions. Everything else was optional, which means that I could have used shields if I wanted to, but I purposely decided not to use shields in order to simulate how slow the berserkers are. Because shields is the secret of this game. Evasion, well, technically speaking, evasion is the secret of this game, or rather the base game. Evasion won't help you a lot in the post game, which we'll be getting to maybe next time. Okay, doing a decent amount of damage, I must say. As we can see, pretty much anything except for his physical attack, which is a HP drain attack. And there he go. Like I was just talking about it. Anything apart from that is completely manageable. Flare 16, no problem. Blind 16, no problem. Slow 16, it is actually technically a problem, because what slow does, since this is not an ATB based game, what slow does is it halves the number of attacks. So instead of getting 16 hits, we would be getting 8 hits only. 8 hits still, at least we're doing some damage. And this fight is obviously going to be a fight of attrition. No doubt about that. Starfall 10, not a problem. How much damage is this doing? Like 300? 400? 500 at best? It's just his regular physical attack that is causing us a problem. And not even because it's doing 5,000 damage. What's worse than 5,000 damage is that it's healing him for that much. There we go. So every now and then he uses that physical attack to just completely obliterate whatever damage that we managed to do to him so far. And that's going to be a rip. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the final boss. Actually, I'm talking as if I beat him. 32 deaths, which is far, far lower than I expected. But so what about Gilgi? Think about Gilgi! Alright. Now, do we have a strategy against this? Short answer, no we don't. Just like the quad, in fact, even now I'm staying true to. Can you please not use a physical attack right at the start of the fight? Actually, start of the fight is the best time. Yeah, because he literally doesn't heal at all when he's at full HP, obviously. Do we have a strategy against this guy? Just like the Quadzerker challenge pretty much leaves it to luck at end game. In Final Fantasy V as well, I think this is primarily going to come down to luck. Absolutely no strategy involved. All we got to hope for is that we get lucky for enough amount of time to be able to do 15,000 damage despite how much ever he heals. And you can see, because of the amount of defense that he has, we're gonna need a significant amount of luck. However, there is one very important factor in our favor, and the fact that is his physical attack is very low priority in his AI script. Now the way AI works in Final Fantasy 2 is just they have a bunch of things that they can do, and each is allotted probabilities, and their physical attacks is one of those probabilities. However, there is still a slight bit of complication there in that pretty much every move that is not treated as a physical attack. For example, this Starfall. The Starfall is not a black or white magic spell. God damn it. So yeah, Starfall is his special attack. Generally, what you would consider is every time an enemy has a special attack, it's not treated as a magic. It is treated as something different. But in Final Fantasy 2, I would say to a very large extent, the enemies also follow the same rules that you do, except for the fact that they are AI, so they won't come up with fancy tactics like a human player can. So to put it simply, the way the mechanic works is anything that is not a physical attack uses MP, which is why you have a number associated with each special skill or magic attack. So when it says Starfall 10, it's effectively using 10 MP to compensate for the fact that everything this guy does uses MP, except for that. He has a buttload of MP, not 10,000 like some bosses in Final Fantasy 5, but about 540 MP. So when enemies run out of MP, then they are forced to use physical attacks only. So that is when their AI changes. Well, can't really say it changes. Essentially, wow, 2 physical attacks in a row. So effectively, we are back down to square one again. 3 physical attacks in a row. GG. Well done, Emperor. Sometimes I wonder if imagine if the AI was actually intelligent and it was able to identify that, hey, we can do more damage. Holy shit! Imagine if the AI was like Final Fantasy Tactics, and it had a complex algorithm to determine how much damage it could do using this spell or just a physical attack. And you can use punches and not a knife or axe. Well, what he is using is a cat claw, and cat claw is considered a knife in this game. So yeah, effectively he's like a monk. Still doing 0 damage though. So he is exactly like a Final Fantasy 5 monk. And that's it. Oh, we're still alive. I just dropped a TC phone edge. The hell is that? Wow, we got some rough treatment this attempt. Are you kidding me? I should be upgraded over the Masamune for Jenna. So this is exactly what I was talking about before. This guy is not kidding around. You saw, relatively speaking, how easy it was for me in the rest of the final dungeon, right? Except for the Death Rider encounters, pretty much nothing else was posing a problem at all. But this is where shit gets real. Ambushed! Okay. Like, final boss is right there, and yet we were ambushed. It's like, holy shit, where did that guy come from? If you think about the real world implication of what an ambush actually means, final boss ambush. That's one thing that I really disagree with in this game. The fact that bosses can ambush you. I don't understand why even bosses like Ifrit or Byblos can ambush you in Final Fantasy V. Like, what is the logic behind that? Except for maybe a programming error. Back attack by Omega. Yeah, Omega too. I suppose there is a case to be made for Omega, since you can just, like, accidentally run into him like I've done countless times. God damn that guy. But what justification is there for pretty much everything here to be back attack? I don't think that adds any value to the gameplay at all. Like, this is one instance of a mechanic that I disagree should have been kept the same. There are a lot of relatively obscure mechanics that have been kept the same from the original version. For example, the evasion mechanic. Because if you see on the surface level, in these remakes, in the remakes of Final Fantasy II, there have been a lot of wholesale changes, but there have been a lot of core mechanics that have been kept the same. Two things that come to mind are the evasion mechanic, the way it works, and the unrunnable encounters. In the original version, specifically speaking, the runnability of each random encounter, where not all random encounters can be run away from, that was down to a technical restriction. Not restriction, the way it was coded. That the consequence of the way the encounters were coded in both Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2, which apparently share a lot of their code base. It was a consequence of that, which made some of the random encounters unrunnable. And in my opinion, it very much adds to the gameplay value, simply because when you consider the original version, where you can't really save inside dungeon, or for that matter the Wonder Swan version. I think starting from the PlayStation version, you could save on the memory card, so even if you wiped to a random encounter in the middle of a dungeon, you could just reload, as long as it was the same session. But consider the fact that in the original version, if you ran into an unrunnable encounter in the middle of a dungeon, you absolutely had to deal with it. Although I can understand that sometimes from the perspective of a first-time player, it would seem that running just there seems to be no logic to when you can run from encounters and when you can't. I completely agree with that, but as an experienced player, I would say that mechanic where certain encounters are unrunnable just adds to the gameplay value. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I would appreciate if all encounters were unrunnable. Seriously? TC Phone Edge. Who drops it? Who drops it? Give me a screenshot on Discord, okay? Oh boy, I would mind grinding for that. Don't tell me it's those guys. It's those things that gave you 25,000 experience. I forgot the names. Phoenix Bugs. Is it those guys? chance to do damage summit every unleash. It's still better than nothing. What is the other unleash? Cruel Dragon and Islet Cave. The one that gives 7,000, about 7,000 EXP. Phoenixes. Okay. So the Cruel Dragon does not? It's a big purple dragon, but I seem to remember that that also gives a lot of experience. Or is it not? Maybe I'm remembering something in Mars Lighthouse. Check my other multiplier reaction by 1, 2, 3 rate of 30%, 20%, 50% respectively. So it's a 50% chance of doing thrice the damage of a regular physical attack. Or is it 3 times the damage of a unleash? 3 multiplied and 696 damage. Not very stellar, I must admit. Considering that you are what, level 43, 44? What level are you? Soul Blade, even at my level, is doing 900 damage. So maybe I won't grind for it after all. Might as well stick with my regular regular releases. Oh god, just put me out of my misery. Look at what he's done. Hello, Passion. What's up? Bastard, he's slowed everybody. He has blinded everybody. What else? Yeah, that's what. And he's just chipping away at the damage. And every now and then he's just going to use a physical attack. So I think what we can do is try to get equipment that resists slow and blind, perhaps. At least that would help with damage. That won't make us so damn helpless in this fight. So 1 in 256 to get a trophy. Yeah, screw that. Screw that. My problem here is that he's using his physical attack too frequently. Way too frequently. But it's definitely not helping that every time he's able to slow us. So does that mean I don't have enough magic defense? That would be ridiculous. Zero damage, fantastic. Wow. Last attempt, he killed me swiftly. This attempt, he pretty much humiliated me. And again, the problem is I don't have a strategy. So I already knew this, but it's going to take a bunch of attempts. I'm just wondering at what attempt should I just say, okay, it's not happening anymore, guys. Because it doesn't feel like we are making any significant progress. Well, progress is probably not the right word. When you come at a fight without any strategy and when you're completely reliant on luck, there is no guarantee that you will constantly be moving forward with each attempt. Is there no way to upgrade your weapons? That's actually a very good point. So, right now, the one who is doing the most damage is Zerkbane. Because he's got arguably the best, no, unarguably the best axe in the game. That is a rune axe. Problem is that there is only one rune axe in the game and, oh my god. So he started to open, he's opening up with 3 physical attacks. Wow, dude. It's just going from bad to worse. Problem is there's only one rune axe which I found in a monster in a box chest, and I'm not entirely sure whether there are any monsters that drop the rune axe. Can somebody quickly look this up if any monster drops a rune axe? That would be appreciated. I don't think so, off the top of my head, never having to deal with such a situation of wanting rune axes. But technically, I could say after a whole bunch of attempts, if it's just not going to be working out, I can say, I would say we might need to switch to swords. Problem with that strategy is I will need to grind. I will need to grind sword levels. But with regards to any other statistic, I've already got max strength. So on that front, can't really upgrade the damage. Is there anything we can do to reduce the enemy's damage? No. I think this is yet another indicator that magic is the way to go. Since magic has a certain minimum damage, physical attacks do not. So this guy has so much defense that we are just barely able to penetrate his defense. And we're just not able to survive long enough because of his HP drain attacks. Even if there was just one small difference that his physical attack was not HP drain, I think that would have made all the difference in the world. But that is not the case. So essentially, what this demonstrates is that I've pretty much come here with the worst strategy imaginable. With the worst, not strategy, with the worst setup imaginable. I seriously cannot think of, well, I can think of worse. If we had even worse weapons. But I don't think, as far as weapons go, I don't think you can get worse than axes. So what we are hoping for right now is to get a what we're looking for right now is to get an attempt where he does not use physical attacks, ideally at all, but because every time he uses a physical attack, we are going to be set back at least 5 or 6 turns, at least, with the amount of damage or lack thereof that we are inflicting.